Hello and welcome back to the Chromecast at the Rising Moon. My name is Elaine, and on this channel I do the Spirit Guide Monthly live every last Friday of the month. I hope you're able to join me. I also do astrological readings in love and relationship and in money and career. Don't forget to look for those in your sign. But I also do this. I do pick a card readings. And today I have a pick a card reading for you that is about the hard truth. This is about a relationship that did not work out and somebody is seeking closure. And we're looking for the truth of the matter. What happened? Why didn't it work out? Please be aware this genuinely is not likely to be a super uplifting read. I was asked to do it by my guides. That is your disclaimer and your warning, is this is not about a romantic take on something. This is about closure. This is the people who are trying to let go of a relationship that did not work out, and they just need to know what happened so that they can learn their lessons and move forward freely. There are 4 piles in a pick a card presentation. Please take a moment, see which one calls out to you. That is the message that you are most meant to receive, and I will see you at the time of your reading. Welcome back. If you chose pile number 1, then this is your reading. We have some oracle cards here. We're going to get some predictive cards with the Angels Tarot. Again, I stated this in the intro, but I'm going to repeat it for every pile. This is the hard truth reading. Something didn't work out and you want to know why. This is not likely to be super uplifting, and if you're not in the space to hear that, that's okay, but maybe pick another reading and wait until such time as you are ready for clarity. So let's get going, and before I get started, please don't forget to subscribe. It helps my channel. If you want to book me for a private reading, there's a link to my website in the description box down below, and if you hit the post bell notification, you'll know every time I post a video. And before I start, please understand I have such compassion and empathy for whatever pain you've been through. Nothing that I'm going to say has anything to do with hurting you. I was asked to do this reading to help people release their burdens. So let's get going with it. Gavel, involvement with the law. Okay. You may have had somebody in your life who was who was having some difficulty with being locked up, with having matters involving court. It could be a divorce situation. Let's keep going. But their attention apparently was called away to other matters that basically had to do with their own choices. Prosperity lies ahead. New moon in Taurus is our moonology card. And the reason I chose those is that is the energy that you're living in now. This is the energy that you're moving into. Remember, most of the time what people do is about them, not about us. This person may not have made the best choices in life. I have air spirit knowledge. See, I think you've been trying to heal. I think you've been trying to learn lessons about how to have good and healthy and strong relationships. And you've had some questions about this for a while. Remember, this is the reading where you likely have not had contact and you know that it's over, but you want to know why. Spirit self, be who you are as you are. This is about understanding the love that you truly deserve. You deserve reciprocity. You deserve the attention, the respect, and the kindness of anyone that you are with. This says that perhaps part of what happened was that you were willing to take less than you deserved through no fault of your own. It was the messages that you learned throughout your childhood that convinced you that relationships that were healthy were unlikely to be part of your life, meaning we repeat what we see. So you've been learning about yourself with this particular combination, and you know that you deserve a balanced relationship. And this was not one of them. We had discipline. I can accomplish what I set my mind to. I swear I think this person committed crimes and might be locked up at this point. Pride. I love myself and I see myself in everyone. Okay. I think that it was an issue of trying to only accept those who are worthy for you. And this person, they may not have had the world's best values. That involvement with the law is not showing up as a divorce yet, but addicted. This is a card of codependency. And please remember, codependency comes in different stages and different forms. The least damaging form of it is merely limiting. where we're super, super involved in our partner and we do everything together. That person's your best friend. Like, you can't imagine life without them. Over time, that can turn toxic and be very limiting. That is the mildest form of codependency and the one you're most likely to see. But addicts, actually, addiction is usually a trauma response. This person may, in fact, have some addiction issues and apparently involvement with the law. They may have done something criminal that kept them from your side. It does look as if you're, I kind of want to say, in a peaceful energy about this. It looks to me as if, like, nothing I'm saying here is coming as a shock. Like, this person may not have the same values with that gavel involvement with the law energy. And then discipline, I can accomplish what I set my mind to. We have the Five of Wands in the upright, which is, it can be an assault, actually. Let's keep going here. Let's keep going here. It's also like conflict within, being confused. Let's keep going. This person, I don't think they were in the right space to try and connect to anybody. It looks like they were very confused. Potentially they've been abusing substances as well. Five of Swords in reverse. 5-5 is change. It comes out with the Hierophant in the upright. We literally have 5-5-5. This is a 5. This is a 5. This is a 5. We have the Six of Pentacles in reverse. I have the Knight of Cups in reverse. The Sun in the upright. They did need to heal from something. The Queen of Pentacles in the upright. I have the Seven of Swords in reverse, which is a card of clarity. I have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. And then I have the Eight of Cups in the upright. This person was not ready for a real commitment. This person was not ready for healthy love because they're not in a healthy space. This is a lot of need for change. They have been prone to non-reciprocal relationships in the past. They likely have the runner dynamic and the runner-chaser dynamic, which is about formative wounds within, the reasons that we can't accept and like really celebrate real and complete love have to do with our formative damage, almost across the board. I'm going to go ahead and grab the archetype deck. Somebody involved may have been married. This may not be like somebody being in lockup energy, but the Hierophant in the upright and involvement with the law, it's potentially they may have been married or you may have been married. They were very confused about their feelings with this combination. They know they needed to heal something, to give up something with that Five of Swords in reverse. The Hierophant and the Queen of Pentacles, this is a Taurus card. This is the Taurus card, and this is another earth sign energy. So there's actually kind of a lot of earth sign energy on this one, but it's not necessarily true that you're dealing with a Capricorn, Virgo, or Taurus, but you may be. Wheel of Fortune in reverse, and then the Eight of Cups in the upright. This person was just so lost. They were just so lost. It does not appear to have been personal, meaning that they didn't have love to give to themselves and they did not have it to give to you. The Discipline and the addiction card, it looks to me like they understand that they need to heal from some form of addiction, substance abuse, bad habits. That they were in the space of needing to heal before they could give to anybody. They were learning how to give to themselves. They do appear to have clarity on this issue. This is a spiritual journey card for both you and for them. What happened was, it's almost like you met, there's something called a chaos soulmate. And this person may have been your chaos soulmate. Somebody who highlights what you need to heal. Somebody who brings you as much change in your life as you need, and you bring it to them as well. 5-5-5 being the energy of change. Your archetype card that just came out is Student. Humility and devotion to knowledge, openness to lifelong learning. The shadow attribute is arrogance in the pursuit of destructive knowledge, unwillingness to translate knowledge into action. That's what I've kind of got around this person, is that they knew that they had all these toxic traits, toxic habits, potentially even toxic beliefs about love. But they have not been able to take the necessary actions, or were not able to. It is as if, I think they had value. I think they valued you. I really do. But it does not look like they had healthy love to give to themselves, and so they didn't have it to give to you either. Let's go get one more one more archetype card for this one, please. Can I get archetype, please? Then I'm going to get some Infinity Oracle cards, which have a tendency to, again, this is the, what happened. And you assume that this person is not coming back. And the Eight of Cups is going on a journey. We have gossip, awakens consideration of the feelings of others, honoring trust, and then shadow attributes is thrives on the power of passing on private secret information and betraying confidences. They may not have been the most trustworthy person. Light attribute is spotlights your positive seductive qualities. Don Juan. Shadow attribute, using the power of romance attraction for private agendas. Listen, this person in the past probably kind of was very used to people wanting them. And you may have been as well. I don't think that there's any question that they found you attractive. The Queen of Pentacles kind of has it all. She is confident and organized and successful. But this person just was not in this space yet. The Wheel of Fortune was they had to begin a new cycle in their life before they could consider having a healthy relationship with anybody, and they do not have a healthy relationship to self. I'm not sure if someone was married or not. Initially, I thought that involvement with the law gavel might have to do with, again, with discipline as well. They lack self-discipline. I think you have it in droves. So it was really, really hard for you to kind of wrap your head around how somebody couldn't just, this is a determination card, that couldn't have the determination to do what they needed to have the love that they wanted. Because your whole life, it looks like you've been able to force yourself to do whatever you've needed to. And this person just, they didn't have anything to give. They didn't have anything to give. They were likely in a toxic situation themselves, and they've behaved in a toxic manner. The pride is, and knowing yourself, that's about knowing what you deserve and releasing it so that you can move forward. You have that self-knowledge. You probably went on a very difficult healing journey because of this person. I think that you held out hope for kind of a long time, but I don't think you really, if you're watching this, I don't think it's because you want to know if they're coming back. I think you want to believe and understand that there was validity to the feelings that you had. Divine Feminine. I have Soulmate. Take Control. Apology. Mirroring. Well, this has twin flame energy all over it. Now listen, remember the only way for twin flames to be together is for everybody involved to do their healing work, to resolve the issues that keep you apart. This particular person had a lot of issues. You may have had similar ones in the past, but they haven't manifested in exactly the same way. Is this person a twin flame, which is a type of soulmate? We're made from the same energy. Perhaps. Not all twin flames end up together. And the kind of the assumption from this particular reading is that you're moving on. And so do they want to come back? I don't know, but it looks like they would need to take full control of their life, which I don't think they've had yet. It's not terrible. I don't have the Devil card on this, but the Six of Pentacles in reverse, they're not living a life in balance. They may have some financial difficulties as well. Until they can offer like an amazing apology, they don't hold a place in your life. But all the work that you've been doing, they've been doing as well. Were the feelings that you had reciprocated? Well, let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and ask the Island Wellness card. Can you tell me about group number one's particular pairing? What's coming up? We had, oh God, addiction. I'm not sure what substance it was, and I'm sorry for the heavy side there. It's just, this is a hard one. There's no, most addiction is a response to emotional pain. We judge it like it's a character flaw or somebody's not wired right, but usually it's just people who are searching for a way to no longer be in pain. And they've settled on self-medication as the way that they deal with things. This is codependent, obsession, possession, controlling, has a block and restraint. I think you had an obsessive quality around this. This is one of the obsessive qualities where it's not a balanced relationship. You may have spent a lot of time trying to figure out what they were doing, what they were thinking, checking in on them, really feeling that connection rather than, kind of just focusing on self and trying to find your personal power. That is not an insult, by the way. It's not. I think you've come out of a very unhealthy energy and you recognize it as having been I'm a little bit on the other side of that. That didn't even feel good. Kisses, unconditionally loving, giving and receiving affection, falling in love, the runner. Self-indulgence, focus on self-worth, time to heal, shadow work, self-appreciation, boat. Receiving what you want, progression, arriving, moving on, and closure issues. That fits our reading perfectly right now. What happened was this person was not in a healthy space. They didn't have a healthy relationship to self, so they can't have a healthy relationship to others. I'm not really looking into what's coming up because that's not the point of this particular reading. You are being told that this person was the runner in a codependent relationship, fear of intimacy, and listening to ego. With that gossip card, like, I'm not sure, like, maybe people involved, maybe this was a third-party situation and they were very concerned about what people would think. It also suggests that anything you confided in them, that they did not necessarily kind of honor that. They have addiction issues, so I don't think they ever meant to betray anything, but they may have betrayed some confidences. Closure issues and moving on. This is a card of moving on. That is the space that, again, the whole premise behind this reading is that, you know, you're not anticipating a future with this person. You just want to know what the heck happened. And they were battling with addiction. I think you help them face some truth about themselves. Like, even if you never speak again, they're going to, everything that occurred between you served a tremendous purpose in their life. But I think they ran practically to another continent in terms of how frightened they were at the thought of really being loved and really being seen. Because I think you loved them despite knowing that they had a lot of issues. And they didn't love themselves. So it's happy family, healer of the ages. I really am getting the vibe that somebody might have been married. It might have been both of you. You might have both been in a committed relationship, but you weren't in a healthy enough space. We do need to heal from old relationships before we move on to our next one. And then I have the second chakra, Archangel Ariel, the garden and the gate, is holding yourself back. Door to Romance was on the back of the... Don't wait for this person. Don't wait for this person. They have their own healing work to do, and they stumble a lot. But what happened was they simply weren't in a healthy space. They may have had a partner. They knew that they needed to heal things. You, I think, were very frightening for them because it made them look at who they were. That gossip, like, it's almost like they had to confront how other people see them for the first time. And it interfered with their pride for a while, and they were in denial, I think. But they have been doing their very best to heal. They may be, like, in a form of counseling with that Hierophant card as well, because that's a mentoring and a therapy card. With the Queen of Pentacles, that can be a therapist. Genuinely, they may have developed a therapeutic relationship with somebody trying to confront what they understood about themselves after kind of like trying to deal with feelings. And I don't think it was even necessarily feelings about you. It's just that they panicked so much that they frightened themselves and understood, like, listen, I don't have a healthy emotional world inside. We have intuitive understanding, unfounded fear, soulmate, they have intimacy issues, old friends, good memories, and then karmic bond. This really may have been a type of karmic relationship that was simply put in your path to help you heal from toxic dynamics. There is, like, I think that you're this super duper loyal person and that you tried to wait for them. I think you have been trying to move on, but not necessarily with another person. This person, I don't think, had a good relationship history in their, like, early life. And I think that they had a different view of themselves, this student thing. I honest to goodness think that they struggled with a lot of arrogance, with that discipline and pride. That they had convinced themselves of a lot of things that were not healthy or good for them, but they were doing them because they thought that, honestly, I think until they knew you, they thought they understood a lot more than they actually did. Group number one, the hard truth on this one is quite simply that the person had addiction issues that they have not been able to heal or were not able to heal. You have done your healing work, and I think you understand now that you can have a beautiful relationship with the right person. I think you have a lot of questions around whether or not this person could ever be the right person, even if they show up tomorrow. And, you know, are we asking that question? Kind of no, not in this particular reading. But I'm going to get an Angel Answers card. I'm going to pick that up because it just, I don't need that many answers. Can you tell me, is there any closing advice for pile number 1? This person they had an unhealthy relationship with self and had nothing healthy to give. And it's just kind of that simple. Until such time as they healed, all they were ever going to do was bring more and more toxic energy. Here's the thing, I think they have tried to heal, but I don't know if it's in time to reclaim anything with you. And I think they understand that they probably don't. Be assertive. Look for a sign. Oh dear. Okay, don't stop. Recovery. Okay. Keep going into your recovery energy, group number 1. Listen, the best thing that you can do in a situation like this where you just don't understand what happened and somebody hasn't even given you the dignity and the respect that is inherent in allowing somebody closure around something that is important to them. No matter what they're doing, what you're being asked to do is to continue on your own journey, to go ahead and release this, at least for the time being, and understand what happened was this person is just very, very unhealthy. And I don't know how much they confronted that or how much they wish to confront that. But that was at the root of it, is that they weren't able to give you something they did not even possess for themselves, group number 1. So group number 1, like I said, I'm super sorry. I wish this was like a more uplifting read, but it is likely to be a slightly difficult one. If you want to book me for a private reading to look into this matter more, I'd be happy to read for you. But the cards in this particular reading are saying, let go of this person who is self-medicating to hide from pain. They are doing their work, but you deserve a full life. Keep going on your journey. If they ever meant to catch up with you, they will catch up with you. In the meantime, be who you are as you are, and the air spirit of knowledge, the new moon in Taurus, prosperity lies ahead. There's more coming to you. This taught you gave you a lot of knowledge about self, helped you understand what you really do deserve, and it was a tough path. And remember, for a while, it looks like you were holding out for something that wasn't quite worthy of you, and now you know what is worthy of you. May it come to you soon. Take care. Be well. Welcome back. If you chose pile number 2, this is your reading. The Wizard's Tarot is going to be bringing you a predictive spread. We have some oracle cards here. Before I get started, remember, this is the hard truth reading. The please give me closure, just tell me what happened, basically. But I don't anticipate good news from this. And if you're not in the emotional space to hear that, I suggest you go watch another reading, because this might be a little rough, but I was asked to do it. And I know that sometimes we just want to know so we can let go. So before I get started, please don't forget to subscribe. It helps my channel. If you like the reading, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. If you want to book me for a private reading, there's a link to my website in the description box down below. If you hit the post bell notification, you will know every time I post a video. Cobweb, protected from negative forces beyond your control. Remember that rejection is God's protection, is like it's a saying for a reason. Emotions are running high in the supermoon. This may have been trauma bonding. And trauma bonding is essentially when our damage recognizes an energetic signature that matches it. Meaning whoever didn't give us the love and the nurturing that we needed in a formative stage, part of us carries with us a recognition of that energy signature, and we go towards people who remind us of our caretakers. And it is, every single person does it. It's not weird. It is absolutely normal, but we can turn and we can look at it and understand it to make healthier choices, to supply our own emotional needs first. Nobody else ever really meets our emotional needs before we do. Now, every now and then, like there will be situations where we can accept support and our emotional needs are met by another person, but the first primary point for an emotionally healthy relationship is being in charge of your own needs. We have Frog Spirit Renewal. I think this was something that was put in your path to help you heal. We have Eternal Gatekeeper. Acknowledge, assert, and protect what is right for you. It's almost like you were asked to, you got caught in this cobweb, protected from negative forces beyond your control. You may have not been aware of some toxic relationship dynamics in your life, and this person who was unavailable was put in your path so that you would be able to focus on your own healing without like putting too much energy into an unavailable relationship. Loneliness. I know that I am never alone. And then acceptance. I am learning to accept the things that I cannot change. I think you had a hard time being single. That we sometimes, particularly in a patriarchal society, we do, particularly as women, we're told that if you identify as a woman, that we need a partner, that we're not really lovable, that there must be something wrong with us if somebody else doesn't want us. It's not how it works. Your worth is unquestioned. You have to know it and believe it. That's what people talk about when they say you have to love yourself first. To receive the treatment and the love you really deserve, you really do have to recognize what's lovable about you, and that's all that means, and it's nothing to do with staying single. Triumph of lies. This is an interesting one. I am genuinely getting the sense that there was a romantic pairing that was put in your path that would be unavailable so that you would have to confront the things within. The acceptance and the loneliness, learning how to be independent. The only cure for codependence is independence. Codependence is never an insult. It's just a traumatic response to not receiving the love and the caretaking that we needed as kids. And sometimes it's very, very pronounced, and sometimes it's mild. But too often what happens is we are encouraged to lose our identity into the idea of a relationship. And our first relation, and by the way, there's nothing wrong with wanting a relationship. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be in love either. It's just we have to have a healthy relationship to self first so that we can have a healthy relationship to others. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Give me closure. What happened with pile number 2? We've already got kind of a lot on the table here. It really is like you were maneuvered into a position where you could kind of attach to somebody who was safe for you to help you break free of a toxic relationship dynamic. I have the lovers in reverse. In fact, that is a need to become whole within, to heal, to integrate the emotional and the logical self, the spirit self and the grounded self, the as above, so below self, the shadow side, which is our personality that was formed in the traumatic experiences of our youth. Now, trauma does not necessarily mean being kidnapped or something. It means that we had emotional damage that caused us to question our relationship to self and to others. That's what causes trauma. I have the Wheel of Fortune in the upright. I have the Knight of Pentacles in the upright, which is a process card. It's a slow and steady work towards stability and security. With the Four of Pentacles in reverse, which is, that for me is one of the cards for dropping your guard and allowing your heart chakra to heal. I don't think you understood that you were in a toxic dynamic, that perhaps you've been essentially having the same type of relationship over and over again, and your attachment to this person was to give you an opportunity to examine your relationships. They remained unachievable and unattainable, and it caused you to, because you invest very deeply in other people, but you've never invested very deeply in yourself. We have the Chariot in the upright, 3 of Wands in the upright, Chariot in the upright. This is card for the astrological sign Cancer. This is the card for the astrological sign Gemini. I'm not really pulling in astrology into this reading because it's more about you than it is about them. I have the Strength card in the upright. This is the card of overcoming with compassion. It is the bravery card. It is the courage card. It can be the card for Leos, by the way. Six of Cups in reverse, a relationship. Oh my goodness. 10 of Swords in the upright with the Sun in reverse. Okay, you had a lot of hidden trauma that you needed to heal from likely your childhood. You had sustained so much damage that you weren't even aware that you had been that badly damaged. It does look as if this was put into your path by the eternal gatekeeper. Acknowledge, assert, and protect what is right for you. You kept accepting the wrong people into your life. This triumph of lies because you didn't know that you deserved real love, real focus. This was like almost a distraction to keep you on a path of learning. So Lovers in reverse was that need to really have self-worth, to really have self-esteem, to really establish a relationship to self so that you could go into a new phase of your life with this Wheel of Fortune. It has been a slow process of healing your heart chakra. There are many opportunities ahead of you. This whole being pulled in two different directions, I think you see with clarity around this now. That there is even a part of you that is like, I don't even know what I would do if this person tried to come back into my life, because now I have a lot higher standard for how I will allow somebody to treat me. We have engineer, ability to give creative energy, a practical expression, talent for designing resolutions to common dilemmas. And then I have the shadow, the attribute is reliance on mechanistic solutions without regard for emotional consequences. Your guides helped steer you towards this pairing. And I think it's been so difficult for you because the emotions are running high. I think for a while you felt like the triumph of lies, like you'd been deceived. Like, what kind of loving presence in the universe would have ever set me up to be run over by a Mack truck like this? A loving presence that understands that even if it takes a few years out of your life, if it frees you up for the decades to follow, that is a good bargain. We invest so much in the suffering of every single moment because it feels endless and it hurts so much. But eventually things are in the past. And if you're allowed to heal, then they stay there. And that's really, there we go. This is interesting. Visionary, who is this, entity responsible for putting somebody in your path that would take your energy but allow you to heal? It's you. It was your higher self. And why would you do that to yourself? And it's like, do you have any idea how much this has hurt me? Yes, your higher self was desperate to help you be freed, and so you asked for angelic assistance, is what it looks like. I have visionary. Light attributes are capacity to envision what is not yet conceivable to others, willingness to proclaim a vision without regard for personal gain, and then the shadow attributes are selling insights to the highest bidder, compromising your vision to make it more acceptable. Listen, I think that you likely have your own psychic gifts, and that you were being asked to become whole within so that you could step into your full power, because I have Queen over here, which is radiates a regal feminine, uses her benevolent authority to protect others. The shadow attributes becomes arrogant when authority is challenged, controlling, and demanding. All right, so that's your energy. What about them? What was going on with them? I know I just paused a long time. I think that it's like they don't even show up here as an emotional figure. They were conflicted on something with that Chariot card because that's being pulled in two different directions. But I think that they kind of, I almost want to say, think that you were just like, they were afraid you couldn't be alone, so you were trying to go towards them. I just dropped a deck all over the floor. It's going to take me a minute to pick it up. Wow, that thing just exploded all over the room, basically. It took a little while to chase that down. So we're trying to look at what their feelings were. And it's almost as if they were a tool versus like a real connection. And I hope that makes sense to you, meaning that like there's a part of you that isn't even sure of how you really feel about this person any longer. Because the Ten of Swords in the upright with the Sun in reverse, it's almost like even though you're watching this, you do recognize that it's like, well, this hasn't been fun. With that Ten of Swords, it never is. But I get why it happened. It's like I was put into you were attached to somebody who was safe for you. That you couldn't repeat a dynamic with them because they wouldn't engage in it. Regain balance and closure. What else have we got? Regrets, generous offer, big success. Group number 2. Listen, I'm not positive how this person ever felt about you, but I do think that it was just plain old-fashioned rejection. Meaning that you may have offered them your love, offered them relationships, tried to go towards them. And like they just, They pulled so far back, it's like they disappeared. Leaving you to like really confront your own stuff, to really do your own work. You have some regrets, but like I think you're in a very healed energy, and you've come to this reading because like you really are just like, okay, done my work. I understand what happened. I understand what I need to let go. I just want to check in and make sure that I've really identified this. Were you given like almost like if you have, it's almost like a panacea. It's almost like you were given a substitute for something very damaging that you used to go towards, something that you couldn't quite reach, that you couldn't overinvest in because the person was emotionally withholding, and they just didn't extend anything towards you, is what it looks like. There are almost no cards of emotion here. We have hammer, sabotage, rebuilding, interrogation, repetitive, persistent, working on it. This person came into your life to help you break a pattern. They were never the point, you were the point. Your guides, I think, worked very hard to steer you towards this, and your work on self was the point of this. The closure on this relationship is accepting that it was never about being lied to. It was about being held in an energy until you were able to confront what you needed to within so that you could be free forever. And it really was like being pinned up for the time period that this was an engaging thing, but you did the work, you understand yourself. It started out in an incredibly unhealthy place, but you found yourself. We have date, meeting someone new, dating, getting back out there, plan, set a date. And then I have talking. Interested, conversing more, awaited messages arrive, text, call, email, and hovering. And then hands of cards, take a risk, being strategic, options, not showing hand, and gambling. Listen, the person that, I cannot tell if this was just an unrequited love and that it was just put into your path to allow you to stop a pattern that was very destructive to you, to free you, brought to you by your guides and by your higher self. The person that you're asking about, these are the cards that just came out, but I'm going to take one more. Engagement. Your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment, and then make the effort. Great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take. There's no information on this person. There is now. Unrequited love. Okay, I kind of got that feeling. Please don't take this personally. This is not about you and your worth. You kept trying to go towards people who were not worthy of you. You were led down a path so that you could heal, so that you could have real love. But apparently, this person was not that person. They were the person who was put in your path by your guides and by your higher self and by the divine to free you from toxicity, to allow you to heal, to allow you to focus on a relationship that would never take root and grow. And what was this other person? They were a holding piece. They were something that was put into your path so that you would focus your energy on them. And it's almost like they could have been anybody from this reading. It could have been anybody. It was a lot to this renewal. It's like you got put into an emotional rehab. And it was done so much for your own good and by these forces that love you so much. And you're having trouble with that. Like you feel stabbed in the back by the divine, like, hey, that was a lot of my time, my energy, my love. Why would you do that to me? And the answer isn't they weren't doing something to you. They were doing something for you. And you will feel that in the future because you really do have like your real love is yet to come in your life. And you will never accept poor substitutes or people who are unworthy again because you had that time of self-focus. Adjacent possibilities, door to value, and then angel of strength, which is the same card about that. You had to know your own value. You didn't. You kept accepting people who were like, they just were not worthy. And it's not your fault. You weren't told that you were worthwhile. Nobody helped you see your worth. Nobody helped build you. And so you had to take the time to build yourself. And that was what happened here. This other person was a placeholder. You know, like at the Academy Awards when somebody gets up to, like, you know, go to the bathroom because they don't want to see empty seats in the audience, they have a seat filler. That's who this person was for you. Magician in the mirror, so you could know your own power, and then dwarf spirit, so that you could fully connect to the divine. This person was not the point. Your healing was the point. There will be adjacent possibilities for you in all areas of your life, and you will be able to accept them and to keep them because you know you are worthy of them, thanks to this rather difficult path that you had to walk with this person, where you apparently wanted to give them your whole heart and soul. And like it really is like they were just a seat holder, something to draw your focus so that you would finally, without any reciprocity from this person, turn around and focus on yourself. And please don't be upset by that. You should be in a very healed place if you're watching this pile and ready to hear that information. And you might have some questions about where love belongs in your life now. But you were being protected. You were being protected. They were trying to help you break a pattern. Spiritual and enlightenment, heavy burden, family support, lost love, karmic bond, intuitive understanding. This person was never the point, you were the point. That's what happened. Is your spirit team apparently the family support, your tribe, your family, your emotional family, your spiritual family, your karmic family, your future self, your higher self. They put something in your path to draw your focus. And here's the thing. The person that you're talking about isn't even on this table. So I think you're watching it because at this point you're genuinely confused with, well, what was the point of that? I'm not even sure how to feel for this person any longer. Until you were healed, you would never get to that place of questioning that. And that was the point of this, is that by the time you got to the point of wanting to release it, wanting to have closure, it would be because you had triumphed over the lies in your life about your worth. You will never allow somebody in again who does not deserve you. Emotions are running high with loneliness and acceptance. It really is like you've learned how to accept that it is so much better to be alone than with the wrong person or with somebody who does not deserve you. Group number 2, that was a very interesting reading because the point of that, the closure for this is release it. This person was not the point. If it felt like you gave them absolutely every part of your energy that you could and you never got anything in return, it was because you needed to recognize that you were pouring your love on unworthy targets. And being that alone and having like just that, like pouring something into a bucket with no bottom feeling finally made you confront, why am I not getting the love I deserve? And you had to look at yourself, discover your own worth, do your own healing, and you're ready to move forward now. Your closure is quite simply recognize this not as a pattern that will repeat, because I think that's what your fear is. With that 10 of Swords in the upright and then the Sun in reverse, you're afraid to invest emotionally in somebody because you don't want this to happen again. You are different. Your outcomes will be different. But the person you're asking about was never the point. You are the point. And the closure on that is you are healed. Go forward and know that the love that you truly deserve is meant to be finding you. Take care and be well. Welcome back. If you chose pile number 3, then this is your reading. Remember, this is a hard truths reading, meaning that this is not about when's this person coming back, how do they feel about me, but what was the point of that? I'm looking for closure. And if you're not ready to hear that, that's absolutely fine. Sincerely, then maybe don't watch this reading. Because so far it really has had information that it's, until you're ready to look, you're unlikely to be able to hear it. And nothing in this is meant to hurt you, but it will be an honest reading about why that had to happen. Give me closure. All right, here we've got some oracle cards. Hey, before I get started, please don't forget to subscribe. It helps my channel. And if you want to book me for a private reading, there is a link to my website in the description box down below. If you hit that post bell notification, you'll know every time I post a video. Quill, get back to the basics. It's like you had to be torn down to the studs. work through your fears. New moon in Scorpio. You're dealing with abandonment issues. Secret spring, success. I think you needed your own focus, your own vocation, belief in self, knowing that you could achieve whatever you needed to achieve. This person might have been drawn away because they were focusing on their own work as well. Strength and vulnerability. True power lies at the root of a perceived weakness. When we heal, when we confront the things that aren't working for us, the things that we need to kind of get down to the basics, tear down to the studs and rebuild our foundation so that we can work in a sturdy and a steady and a secure and a confident energy, that energy comes from, that confidence comes from looking at the ways in which we are damaged and need to heal. And everybody has some damage. Everybody needs to heal. It's not about weakness. Some people incur more damage. And what I'm always telling people, the strength of vulnerability, if you have big emotions, if you have big joy, if you have big sad, if you have big mad, that means you've got a lot of power. But it also usually means that since everything contains its opposite, the pain runs deep and you have to heal it. I have love. I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. That includes the difficult journey that you've been on. If you have been healing, if it was a difficult journey, if there were times where you're like, I don't even know if I can do this any longer, find the value in that now because you found the ways to keep going despite not having what you wanted. And I have health. I will honor the physical vessel that enshrines my whole. Love and health. I think you were like just engaging in toxic relationships dynamic as all of us do. Until we heal our damage, we just keep repeating it. Until you repair it, you repeat it. And if you've been watching my channel at all for any length of time, you know that, oh my goodness, I had the worst taste in men. Just absolutely the worst. Codependent beyond the telling of it. And I had to heal from that. And have I? Yes. Was it difficult? Yes. All right, we have obsession. You may have obsessive compulsive disorder born in trauma. For people who are badly traumatized, there's a form of OCD that is associated with complex post-traumatic stress disorder, repeating patterns, desperately seeking safety because you were not safe from birth. And kind of that's what I've got here, is that you don't have addiction issues necessarily, but you have obsessive issues. Trying to do things over and over and over again. You might have done things like watch, pick a card after pick a card after pick a card when you were in the grips of being a little bit obsessed with this person. You might have thought this was a twin flame connection. I think by the time you're watching this, because I don't think people who are still very gripped by that are likely to be drawn by the it's over, give me closure concept behind this. If you're watching this, it's because you know that there is no likely future with the person that you're asking about, but you just want to know what happened. And what happened was you were engaged in a toxic relationship pattern, and something was brought to you to help you heal it, so that you would be able to have successful relationships going forward, that you would be able to break your patterns. Now, when you have that OCD trauma thing, the best thing that you can do is learn healthy patterns, things like meditation, making sure you take your vitamins, going to yoga, working out. There are ways to retrain that need to serve you versus to detract from your existence. Let's get going. What happened with person number 3? Closure on this. They're not coming back. It doesn't look like it. So what's the closure? What were they thinking and feeling? Let's know. The other person may not be the point of this. When you've had a relationship that was put in your path to draw your focus so that you could turn to look at yourself in the mirror to heal your damage, sometimes that is your higher self working in conjunction with your guides and the divine to bring you what you needed to heal. So we'll see what comes out in this, but don't be too surprised if it keeps focusing on self. 10 of Pentacles in the upright is security. You might have obsessively sought security and gone towards relationships to feel safe and secure in this world. With the 2 of Wands in the upright, which is a card of plans and choices, it's a card of opportunity coming up ahead and making plans. It can be a travel card, by the way. It does look as if, with the 7 of Swords, the 3 of Wands. Okay, we're going to get all this down. Justice in the upright, King of Wands in the upright, Ace of Swords in the upright, 5 of Wands in the upright, Fool in reverse, Ace of Cups in reverse. Okay, so this particular reading is about someone who needed to have a pairing put into their past so that they could face the ways in which they didn't acknowledge with the Seven of Swords energy the things that didn't fit the narrative that was supporting them. And all that means is that because you had your identity wrapped up in whether or not another person loved you as being about your worth versus about their taste, which, remember, if somebody did not want you, it is not about whether or not you're lovable. It's about whether or not they were the person who was worthy of receiving your love. And we are never rejected by somebody who was not worthy of us. It looks like you had to come into a more balanced state to understand your true worth, to accomplish the things that you wanted to face the things that were making you uncomfortable, to recognize the part that you may have played in your own past difficulties, in any toxic relationships. And this other person, I think they're in the exact same boat. I think that they have a tendency towards compulsive behaviors and that they did not recognize their own toxicity. I think you frightened them very badly, by the way. That Seven of Swords, it's like they wouldn't admit that they had any feelings for you. The Three of Wands in the upright is opportunity. With the Five of Wands, that can be competition. That can also be confusion. It can also be, plain old-fashioned conflict. You were being asked to almost like do a hard restart on what you thought about relationships. And the only way to get you to examine that was to put somebody in your path who you would try to give them all of your love, and they would like deny and like walk away from everything that you were trying to give them. And it caused you to really try to invest in somebody other than yourself. Here's the thing. I think that by the time you're watching this, you're living in a healthier energy. Journey, happy family, 7th chakra, Archangel Uriel, 4th chakra, Archangel Raphael, Ariel, and then the sun. This was a healing journey for you. Is this other person coming back? This other person is not showing up as a person in your reading. They're showing up as an energy, meaning it was something orchestrated to try and help you. And that is an energy that is likely to be around this particular reading. This may have been a third-party situation with that Three of Wands in the upright. This person may have been married or in a committed relationship when you met them. There was something that made you accept that, okay, we can't be in this relationship yet, but I'm going to wait, I'm going to wait, I'm going to wait. And I think that you waited so long that you kind of had to start looking within and improving your emotional health and understanding that the relationships that you've had in the past were not necessarily the ones that were serving you the most. And the closure on this is like releasing the toxic energy of a relationship or a connection that did not supply you with the love that you truly deserve. I think you made yourself very vulnerable to this person, and they just were not in a healthy energy. I'm going to check your moon card again. Work through your fears. It's almost like you had to have the worst situation you could possibly imagine happen in order to heal from it. And I think the worst that you can imagine is that you could be so in love with somebody and that they would not return your feelings. And you couldn't accept it for a while, because this is a card of like lies, deceit, manipulation. Sometimes it's a card of denial. And this other person, I think, is very much in the exact same boat as you are. They have not had healthy relationships. They have not... I think they felt very threatened by love. I think you felt very protected by it, and they felt very threatened by it. And so the more you tried to love this person, the more they withdrew. Networker. Light attributes enhances unity through sharing of information, engenders social awareness and empathy. But the shadow attributes are conveys information only for personal gain, spreads fear and falsehood. And then I have Virgin. Maintaining symbolic purity of the heart and mind and spirit. Shadow attribute is fear of intimate union. That's who this person is. And I kind of don't think that they're Yeah. God, light attributes, benevolence and compassion, recognizing the internal force within yourself and others. The shadow attribute is despotism and cruelty, using power to control people. Listen, they're not showing up as a terrible human being, but they're kind of showing up as an emotional dead zone. Like they're not, like they've got a strange energy around them. I think that you are really in the what was I thinking energy around this particular person. And this closure that you're searching for is not necessarily about them, but about, well, why did I do that to myself if there was nothing really there? And first of all, you really were being guided towards something to free you. It wasn't to injure you. It wasn't to punish you. It was to give you a chance to examine a relationship dynamic that was destroying you. And that's not what love does. Love is meant to build us up. Love is meant to sustain us through dark times. And love is meant to be reciprocated. And this person, they've got like, it's like they have an empty cup. Regrets, closure. Boy, that came out in another generous offer. Strange. I like, this is a big deck and I shuffle pretty thoroughly. And this is as hard as it is to believe. Like being involved in what looks like a relationship where like they just fled. The Seven of Swords is like one of those sneaking around cards too, but it's usually depicted as somebody like sneaking away from an encampment with everything that they could carry. And then Runner. I actually really like these cards, but be a little careful. You're in the Runner energy now. You've healed, but you're like a little bit reluctant to give your heart again because you don't want to repeat this pattern. You changed. When you repair it, you don't repeat it. And if you're watching this reading, it's because it really is like you're questioning some of the things that you did and recognizing the ways in which it wasn't healthy. Like this is a stalking energy as well. You might have stalked this person's social media to see what they were up to. You focused more on them than you did on self for a while because you weren't allowed to see value in yourself in a formative experience. And so you would always, like, if somebody loved you, that's where you found your worth. That is so, so common. But you've been working on your worth. You've been improving your health. You really have reestablished a better relationship to self. And the closure around this is simply like recognize it for the tool that it was in a healing journey. All right, I have Boat, which is receiving what you need, progression, arriving, moving on, and closure issues. With Hand of Cards, take a chance, risk, being strategic, options, not showing hand, and gambling. Mask, not showing true feelings, hide, personify, pretend, delude, and gaslighting. And then I think I'm gonna go ahead and take this card anyway, but it is passion, insane chemistry, like each other equally, having fun, and I want one more on this, not today. All right, so here's the thing, group number 3. The closure on this is that this person was not, they were a tool. They were a tool in trying to rebuild you. They don't appear to have the same depth of feeling about anything that you do. Like, I'm not saying they're a player. It's not necessarily that I'm getting that vibe. But what I'm getting is that there's an emotionally unavailable quality to this person that makes them kind of unworthy of you. And I think you see that now. Like, you're like, why was I accepting just the crumbs from this person's table and being so grateful for them? I deserve a banquet. That's what this was about. That's the closure that will set you free. How to be set free from this is to stop thinking about it being about that other person and recognize that everything that comes into our life when we're on a spiritual journey is about helping us. Here we go. Let's get some higher love oracle cards. Give me the closure for this particular pairing. End of a learning cycle. I would agree with that. you had to learn your own value through understanding. After a while, I think you really started to understand this person may have treated you badly enough that like it really, even if you have damaged self-esteem, it kind of started to register with you that it's like, you don't really deserve me. As you became healthier and healthier, you don't see this person the same way any longer. Like, you see them as, you're just confused as to why something had to happen. Major ending, new beginning, new level of growth, solitude and meditation, and renewed faith. After a period of being essentially stuck by yourself, almost isolated from the world and from others, it was so that you could examine and understand and learn lessons to bring about an ending to a toxic relationship dynamic that would bring you a new beginning. And here's the thing. I don't think you're like this. The fool is like, no, not again. In reverse like that. They're very guarded. They are look before they leap, and you're not sure how you feel about love any longer. Please remember, this does not look like it was a reciprocated thing, like at all. I think you might have been like, hey, I like you. And this other person went bounding off like that, squirrel from over the hedge or under the hedge or whatever it was, because I've got this like very little actual involvement. You had an investment of emotions in it, but it was this is the divine timing card. It really was like the divine was trying to keep you safe from somebody misusing you again. And so your eye was turned towards somebody who just was not in a good place. And so they ran as far and as fast as they could. And it might have been cricket for years at this point. Or if you have contact, it's very brief, like one of those things where it's walls of text and their response is like a sentence. And that's a kind of a relationship in which you're giving and giving and giving and not receiving. We have attraction. You attract more romantic love by enjoying this moment fully. Flirt. And then I have healing family issues. You're in healing phase. The flirt is extend your lighthearted energy to others. You have learned how to celebrate your life by yourself. And the other person was never the point of this union. Your healing was the point of this union. I think that it was all about aiding you on the journey that you have been on. And in terms of like the other person, I think you understand now that you told yourself a story about them, but that it was never a true story. It was the Seven of Swords is essentially like you told yourself some lies in order to, and like, believe me, we all do it. We all do it. Like when I was asked to do this reading, I'm like, oh my God, people are just gonna yell at me. Okay. Okay, the more important part is that you get the love that you deserve as you go forward. Even if this isn't the funnest stuff to hear, what is that there is something that loves you so much in this world that it would distract you and bring you something to try and help you, knowing how upset it would make you, knowing how much it would challenge your kind of connection to everything. But this obsession, I think you understand now, whatever this was, it was not love. It was about trying to resolve some traumatic patterns so that you could be free. And again, true power lies at the root of a perceived weakness. All that love that you wanted to give to this person because you just would give absolutely everything to somebody that you love. You have learned that you don't need to do that in order to have love. You've learned to love yourself. You've learned to recognize your value. You've learned to recognize that even if you have quirks in your personality or big emotions or whatever it may be, it is meant to be a part of you. And that anybody who truly loves you will embrace that. We all accept people for their positive attributes and accept their detractions. And you've learned to accept your detractions, to work on them, to make friends with them, to understand that your shadow self, your darker self, is something that you can harness and understand, and that those big, big emotions, that ability to just give absolutely all of your something belongs to you, is your personal power to make you succeed in this life. Why this happened and the closure that you're being asked to embrace is you needed to know your own value, knowing that all the power, all the love that you have is for you to experience, for you to have success with, for you. Everything about this was for you. And if you're healed, you'll hear that and say, yeah, that makes sense. And if you're not, it might be deeply upsetting. But it's almost like this was I'm not going to say a void, but a distraction. It was a distraction so that you would be able to invest in the wrong person so that you could begin to invest in yourself. Group number 3, I did not expect this to be a fun reading. And honest to goodness, it hasn't been a lot of fun to deliver, but it has been necessary. Remember that even if no time is wasted on a healing journey, and you can learn the most about yourself and what you deserve from this particular difficult relationship in which I think you tried to give somebody everything and they acted like you were something to flee from. That is not what your energy will be like going forward, and you don't need to fear falling in love again. It appears that you do. Remember, the divine brought you this to help you. The divine will also bring you the love that will then challenge that fear. Your true strength lies at the point of vulnerability, and your vulnerability now is that you think you should try and walk your path alone. That was not the point of your healing journey. The point of your healing journey was to make sure that whoever is walking beside you on that path is worthy of occupying that space, rather than there to take from you until such time as they were done. Group number 3, difficult read. I knew it was going to be. I hope that you are entirely healed, and remember, real love will come to you. You are whole within. Welcome back. If you chose pile number 4, then this is your reading. Hey, this is the hard truth closure reading. We're going to find out what the point of a particular connection was or what happened. Before I get started, please don't forget to subscribe. It does help my channel. If you hit the thumbs up button if you like the reading, that helps as well. If you want to book me for a private reading, there is a link to my website in the description box down below. But before I start, this is not likely to be what you want to hear. None of the 3 piles so far have been a love story. They've been a difficult story to hear, but hopefully a helpful one on a healing journey. And if you're not ready to be in the space of hearing the things that you don't want to hear, that is absolutely fine. We all progress at the pace that we're meant to, but maybe watch something else, because this is going to likely be a slightly difficult one. I was asked to do it, and I'm doing my best to deliver the messages that are in the cards. All right, we have Mountain, major challenge to overcome. Oh, that's a card of carrying many burdens as well. Step out of your comfort zone, North Pole. Ooh, I wonder if you're the runner. We have Maple Spirit, generosity. Okay. Weeping Wound, you are not your wounds. Oh, I think you have a fear of intimacy. Okay, we have Peace. I am a being of love and I release all negative energy. And then I have Envy. I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. And then I have Fragmentation. Okay. Fragmented energy with Envy, Peace. Okay, this person that you were attached to, they had a very fragmented energy. I think they were like probably not well at the time that you were attached to them. Here's the thing, there's a weird, like everybody involved is like very afraid of intimacy. So it's almost as if the idea of being in love both excites and terrifies everyone involved here. And the peace energy, it really is almost as if this person was acting from a place of fear. They couldn't figure out how to be brave enough to acknowledge feelings. Let's find out what's going on. This is the Tower of Night. Let's see, let's go. What do we have for group number 4? They had fragmented energy. It's like they were, they've got all their own trauma. This might be a twin flame. They've got all their own trauma. It's like they can't achieve true intimacy with anyone. And true intimacy, the emotional intimacy, like sexual intimacy is pretty easy. Emotional intimacy is usually pretty challenging. I have the 4 Cups in the upright that is being haunted by something. That could be an underlying issues card. It could be something happening in the background as well. This is underlying issues. I have the 8 of Pentacles in reverse, somebody who was turning a blind eye to the lessons that they needed to learn. It's like they had cobbled together an existence that gave them peace, but not joy. And whatever they thought about love, like it was, like I think they just accepted really unhealthy forms of love as being indicative of what love was. Five of Cups in reverse is a hidden Two of Cups. Is about, after a period of loss, concentrating on what remains. And then I have the Nine of Swords. God, this person's so fearful. They were afraid of intimate union. I think at your core, you are as well. I have the High Priestess in reverse. That is secrets being revealed. It's confronting the damage within. The Queen of Swords in the upright is also a card of needing to stand in your truth. I have the Seven of Swords in reverse, yet another card of clarity and truth, with the Seven of Cups in the upright, which is a card sometimes of fantasy, sometimes illusion. This appears to have been the stuff of the narrative that you were telling yourself about this person and the narrative they were telling themselves about you. And nobody involved was looking at their personal truth until this continued for a while. I have the Tower in the upright. Tower is the card of divine intervention. It is not a bad card. It's a deeply misunderstood card, and it is a card of destruction to bring about meaningful change. The premise behind the Tower is anything built on a faulty foundation must fall. And I think your emotional life and their emotional life was built on a faulty foundation. They believed in the ego self versus in the true self. They saw themselves in a way that protected their damage. And I think that there was a lot of like, I'm going to go with trauma involved in this. That the thing that made you go toward this person was trauma related, and the thing that made them run away from you was trauma related as well. I have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, and then I have the Knight of Swords in the upright to make progress on something. I took 3 on that particular one because this is a difficult energy. So the closure on this is this person was just, they're steeped in their own toxicity. On the honor of the generous spirit here, fragmentation, step out of your comfort zone. I think you were trying to repeat a pattern rather than to heal a wound, and that this particular energy came to you in order to allow you to be free from it. Let's keep going here. All right, let's go. What have we got from the archetype cards? This person is at their core exceptionally fearful. That Nine of Swords energy with the Seven of Cups energy, it's like they circle something over and over again, but they can't ever act because they're very fear-ruled. They have their own underlying issues. Knowing you has caused them to confront some things. They have been making changes and they have been making progress. This mountain is the challenge to overcome. It's like you challenged each other, because I think you both had a very secure view of who you were. But I don't think that you were able to achieve much of a union with this person. It almost as if this never really launched. Yeah, the Eight of... Everybody involved needed to learn their lessons. The Queen of Swords faced their truth. This person did not have a healthy relationship to anything. They just didn't. They likely have, oh my goodness, Saboteur. Highlights your fear of self-empowerment and the changes it would bring to your life. And then the Shadow attribute is induces self-destructive behavior or a desire to undermine others. I'm going to go with the self-destructive behavior. There's a lot of whatever this person's higher self is, it's like their lower self drowns out every message. You've struggled with that as well. We have Athlete. Dedication to transcending physical limitations, including handicaps, development of personal willpower and strength of spirit. But the Shadow attribute is misuse of athletic ability for selfish ends, false sense of invulnerability, and entitlement. I think everybody involved struggled with making healthy choices around connection. Where is this person in this? Apparently they're experiencing their Tower stuff now, but I think you've already been all the way through it. Messiah. Light attribute is serving humanity with humility. Shadow attribute is exaggerated belief that you are the only means through which a cause can succeed. This was a really difficult connection. I think it caused you to question whether or not you were lovable, question whether or not anybody would ever want you. It woke up every fear that everybody involved had about sacred unions, about love, about connection. And you have emerged on the other side of it, ready to move forward, start again, and you are moving on. If you're asking about this other person, you know, they appear to be engaged in a process around that. And I think you recognize all of the ways in which that fragmentation energy, that fragmented energy around this envy and peace, I think you recognize all the ways in which this person was, I'm not going to say toxic, but like stirred up all the crap inside. And now you're able, you cleared that all out, and now you look at them with clarity. You see them with truth. That 7-7 is also side by side like that, is a download code that is about spiritual enlightenment. It is as if this happened to bring you to a connection to the divine. The closure on this is, you know, you've got your stuff to do. And if you're watching this, it really looks to me, door to value, it looks to me as if the thing that is really calling out to you is understanding that there is a purpose in this life for you. Whatever you felt about this person, like it's very, I think you're very, like you don't know which way to turn with it. Like you're like, do I even like them any longer? Community, that's the life's purpose energy. You had to heal some things within to serve your purpose, to unfragment your energy, to kind of become whole and healed within. This other person, like they're in, it's weird, but they're so fear-ruled, and you're not. And the closure on this is you're a courageous enough person that a little, like there's a part of you that's a little bit, like you find it off-putting. A woman holding a coin, boy, it's all about business. 7th chakra, Archangel Uriel, hostilities, and then Goddess of the Moon. Honest to goodness, the closure on this is that I think you question whether or not you even like this person any longer. Because you've got a little bit of, I don't want to say contempt, but you force yourself to do the things that you're afraid of. You always have. You've been able to overcome that saboteur, athlete, and messiah. Like you're able to move forward in an energy even when you're frightened, even when you're concerned, and you make yourself do it. And you've been watching this person not do it and not do it and not do it. Like they walk up right to the edge and they're like, I'm gonna leap, I'm gonna leap, I'm gonna leap. And they circle that edge forever. And there's a part of you that is starting to say, I don't really respect that. Listen, we all get scared, but like sooner or later you gotta jump. Not enough. I think you have started to realize, I don't think that person's good enough for me. Mask, not showing true feelings, hide, personify, pretend, delude, gaslighting. I think this person tried to put you off. And for a while you're like, they'll heal, they'll come along, they'll do their work, they'll confront the fact that I'm like the best thing that ever happened to them. And when it didn't happen and it didn't happen and it didn't happen, less and less you took responsibility for that. And more you're like, well, like maybe lift some weights or something because you're not very strong. Like and it's not in a judgmental way, but it is in a knowing what you deserve way. Separation, sadness, missing you, thinking about you, yearning, unsure of the future, and then they have coffin. Endings bring new beginnings, growth, change, transition, liberation, and transition. And then acts, breakup, separation, stop the pattern, silent treatment, and abandonment. If I had to guess, you're ready to walk away from this because you waited for them to be like you, where you can work up the guts to do whatever it is you need to do with this athlete and messiah energy and generosity. Step out of your comfort zone. Like that's what you do all the time. And if there's a mountain, you figure out how to, like you might be like, God, not another mountain, but you figure out how to climb it. And as this has stretched on, like this person being so fear-ruled, you have less and less respect for it. Like it's not that you begrudge any, or you don't have compassion for somebody doing their work, but it is as if you understand that it's like, okay, listen, if it's taken you this long to be brave, you're not brave enough for me. Because I do absolutely everything scared out of my wits, but I still do it. So it's not that you don't have patience, it's that you understand that you're at different stages. Healing family issues, your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. Reconciliation, someone from your past is returning to your life. Are they coming back? I think so. I think so. Because we just got worth waiting for and then new love. Is this person going to try and come back to you? Yes. Do I have a time frame on that? No, because of the work worth waiting for, it's going to be individual for absolutely everybody. Here is the thing. You've had a sea change in how you see them. And now they're going to have to work their tuchus off in order to be allowed into the door. Because it went on for long enough that you're like, this person is not strong enough for me. Like, I have my stuff, but like, I'm really, really strong. You started to question a lot of things about this person. You had to grieve. I have not got this moving on energy, but I've got this like tower energy with the Wheel of Fortune in reverse and then the Knight of Swords in the upright. Like, you're uncertain about how you feel about this person any longer, because the longer this went on, the less respect you had for the way in which they were handling things. We're going to get some Infinity Oracle cards, and we're going to start closing this out. I knew this was going to be kind of a tough read, and I'm sorry, because I don't want to ever hurt anybody. But accepting the fact that you've leveled up, and this person, if they show up at your front door, boy, are you ever going to do a credentials check on them. Oh, that's great, you're here, but I now recognize all the ways in which you're not good enough for me. What have you improved that would allow you entry? Regain balance. Stuck. There's a lot of fragmented energy here. Vivid dreams. Fear and anxiety. They are so fear-ruled. And here's the thing. You likely have anxiety issues with this Nine of Swords energy, but my gosh, you do not let it dictate your actions. Like, even if it's hard, you do the job. And that's, as this person had real feelings for you, by the way, they were just frightened. They really, like, their feelings were, they have never allowed themselves real love because it's very, very challenging to make themselves vulnerable. They're an incredibly fearful person. And for a while, like, you were chilling and waiting and doing your work, and like, you know, it was hard for you, but you're very devoted when you're devoted. Generosity. When you give your heart, you give your whole heart. As it went on and on and on and on and on, like, after a while, you're like, okay, like, the person who's good enough for me is going to show the heck up. And they will overcome fears. And this person has just struggled to do that. But it does appear as if they're going to come back. And here's the thing. One of the things I like about this, and like, I'm sorry because it's supposed to be a closure reading, I have no time frame on that. But when the person apparently does is like, they're starting from scratch. They're starting from scratch. Like, they're going to have to like win you over on a big level, because you started out seeing them as you wished to see them. As things went on, you had greater and greater clarity about just like, they're very, very fear-ruled. And it's not that you have contempt for it, but you don't get it. Because you live in a fearful energy, but like, man, you make yourself do it. And you cannot really understand somebody who doesn't. Like, you know that sooner or later you got to pull the ripcord and jump. I do think this person is likely coming back into your life. Don't stop. Choose a new direction. Listen to your intuition. Communicate clearly. Okay, so hey, group number 4. The closure on this is that like the feelings that you have for this person has changed. Like you have less and less respect for the way in which they handle things, and you have more and more understanding of what your innate and intrinsic value is. The cards are indicating that you are not done with this person, but they are also indicating that when they come back, man, are you ever going to make them earn it? And you might not let them, because now you understand that somebody needs to be an athlete energy as well, worthy of standing beside you. It really is like they sabotage their own happiness. You saved yourself. You saved yourself, and you started to have some questions around, well, how strong, is this person strong enough for me? Because I'm pretty strong. It does appear that they're coming back and that they have things to tell you. And it does look to me as if, like I said, they're starting from ground zero and rebuilding entirely. I don't have what happens with that, but the closure on this is, if you feel like I don't have the same feelings for this person, what does that mean for this connection? It means if they ever finish their work, and this reading says that they likely will, that by the time they're in their life, like you really are like, I don't know. What have you got for me now? It's going to be more about what they can prove to you than you're not waiting for them. You're not waiting for them. Group number 4, that was an interesting one. You'll have a chance, it looks like, to answer your questions more deeply. But basically what happened, the closure on this, is that you understood that you were outgrowing this person and that perhaps they had never been as courageous as they needed to be to deserve you. Take care. Be well.